Hello all, it's Melinda. First off, I want to apologize for my squeaky voice. I'm coming down with something. I'm trying to get this done before I completely lose it. Over on the Mind the Scrap Facebook group, we are doing Chinese Whisper Take 2. It is all new teams of 4 ladies, each team. And week 1, we pick a sketch. This is the sketch I'm picking. Next week, I'll pass it on to the next person in line, and I will receive someone else's layout, and I will scrap lift their layout. So at the end of 4 weeks, we will see them all and see how different they are and how much they're alike. The last one was very fun, so I decided to do the second one as well. So I'm going to use this sketch. It's by Sketchabilities, sketch 122. And I'm going to use this photo. I've already cropped it and backed it with cardstock. It's another senior photo of my daughter. And I'm thinking that I'm going to use We Are Memory typecast paper pad. The vibe I want to go with is, the title I want to be is Miss Independent. So I'm kind of going to go with a vibe of a little bit grungy, a little bit tattered, but yet classy. So I think the pink, gold, and black will get me there. We'll see. She's not a great fan of pink, so she may poo-poo this, but that's okay. I'm scrapping it. She's not. Mom's prerogative. So I'm going to put you on fast forward so you can see this happen and you can stop listening to my squeaky voice. That'll make everybody happy. All right.
Now, I've already decided that I wanted to use the pink matte paper as the center layer, or the background paper. I'm going to end up matting it, but not yet. The little frame that I have back there is just from my stash. I don't know who the maker of that is, but I'm thinking I need something behind it, so I'm going to attempt to use this little Project Lifestyle card, the two-tone gray behind it. The Enjoy is not going to stay. It was the only one that I had that actually fit that frame, and the word doesn't really make it to what I want it to be. I'm going to leave it there for a bit, but the angle of the two papers doesn't work for me, so I'm pondering. I'm going to leave it to sit. I'm going to grab a stamp, because I know I need a stamp, and this one is the Carabella Studios art stamp. The name of it's in French, so I don't know what the actual name of the stamp is, and I won't attempt to say it. I'm just going to go through the stack and try to find some paper. I know I need well, my goal is to have a dark one at the very back layer, but the stripes is not going to do it. I'm going to try this one. I think it's a Amy Tan. It has plus signs on it from the 6x6 paper pad. That hash one works. That arrows pad, or the arrow paper clip, is from American Crafts. This animal print in the gold leaf is really going to help bring that blinginess to it, and that layer does stay. I'm going to do some more digging in my stash. I'm going to audition some papers. Now, I like this one because ultimately the song Miss Independent is playing in my head as I'm doing this because of the title. And so music notes seem to fit the bill. Now I know I'm going to have the dark layers at the back, and I'm trying to find a layer with pink in it to add close to the photo to bring kind of the background paper into the layers. So I'm just going to keep flipping. Most of the pink in this stack has gold in it, and I don't think I need that with the gold. And I choose this one, and you're not going to barely see the black. I'm going to switch it around so that the black part is on the part that I think might touch the background paper. I'm going to choose this for the last layer. In the sketch, all the layers are kind of just cattywampus. A little here, a little there. I'm going to end up having to find some tissue paper because I need to soften things up a tad bit. So just a little bit of each of the layers is going to peek out. I'm going to end up cutting this one. Same shape, just we're going to offset it. I spent a lot of time on the layers because this is kind of the main focal point. Tapping my fingers again. That means I'm thinking. Just moving them here and there. This is where I decide definitely need tissue paper. And the way I cut it, I end up having lots and lots of pieces of it instead of a solid piece. So I'm going to wrinkle it up. I'm going to staple that together. And instead of putting it behind the photo, I'm going to put it behind these two layers. I'm going to do each of these separate, the way I normally do it, with do one side down and then do the other side, and then just kind of fold the other ones together so that they're folded up, the center part. Now that one I just folded in half so that it had no wrinkles in it, but it was a square, and I'm just going to kind of offset them, and just so that there's multiple layers. I want this to look like it's just sitting on a stack of papers. See how thick it looks. And once I figure that out, I'm going to staple all the layers together. Same as on glue. So the only thing that's not glued down is the picture at this point. Now I got to work on the stamp, and oh yep, I have to find something to go up there. This is from my stash. It's just a gold foil dictionary vellum, and that's gonna stay. And I'm pointing there. I need something. And the photo, they have hearts, and I have Heidi Swap resist hearts still from years ago. I think they're gonna work, but I'm not positive. This is a Tim Holtz Ideology Alpha Parts sign maker. I'm just looking to make sure they have enough of the letters for what I need. They are plastic, but sticky. So I have to cut every one of them off. So this takes me a bit. I believe I save you, yep, the joy of watching all that. So they're a little bit tacky, but not really tacky. Now this is really long, and there's really no way for me to, I'm showing you that I got on my clearance, sorry. So there's no way for me to overlap them because they're plastic. So I'm going to stop worrying about that right now and work on the little clusters at the bottom of the photo, because I don't know where to place the title until I figure out how big that cluster is going to be. I've decided to go with the hearts, and then, like I said, these are Heidi Swap from years ago. I wish I could find more. I'm going to try the 3. And I know I'm going to have the one up in the corner. And that's kind of giving me my spacing. I still have to do the stamp. This is just gold filament thread. So that just adds a little bit of gold down there. I have to stamp these. I'm going to do a couple of them down here. Rotate the stamp. I do one more down there. Yeah. There's also a line on the sketch across the top. I believe it appears to be a sewn line, but I'm going to use this stamp. Now I'm going to search for my sticky notes, but I can't find them, so I'm going to unsuccessfully use washi tape to cover up the circle because I don't want any more circles. So I'm going to do that. But I ended up rubbing it on the washi tape, so I'm going to end up with a little black blob. And it's all good in the end, but it's definitely there. And there's where the black blob is. And I do it all the way across, and I'm just trying to make sure I line it up as best as possible. Gets a little off center there, but it's okay. Now I could have easily just sewn that line and then put the circles on the end of it if I wanted to, but I was being lazy and just ready to use the stamp. Just got to figure out how I want that to go. And glue that down. I think I staple that together so that those two are one, and the heart will cover the staple, so I'm not too concerned about it. For years I did not realize that these were self-adhesive. I know, kind of odd, right? I'm going to put a little foam under the parts that aren't going to stick on the frame so that they have something to stick on. Just trying to figure out where this is going to place. Now wherever I put the thread, if the letters overlap it, they're going to have to be hot glued down because the thread just does not work in that spot. Fussing with it more. Wanted to make more of a little nest. Just got to figure out how I'm going to stack these because I got to peel one and I'm going to have to use some foam to hold the other ones up. So I got to put foam on the two so that they don't sink. And the bottom one I can go ahead and just adhere right to the layout. I have to get this stuck down because the hearts are going to overlap it. That should be good. I try this little stick it down and then pull it out, and it does not work. So I'm going to have to hot glue the T down. And then just stick each letter on. Now so far that they have stayed stuck, but I was worried about that. They were getting a little crazy there, so I had to get the ruler to line them up. One good thing is that the dot on the I is attached to it, so I don't have to chase around a little plastic dot. I'm going to glue those together. Now I'm going to stick that down, and I'm going to chop this off prematurely because I decide that I want to back this with a border. So, and I'm going to want that back, so I'm going to have to piece it back together very carefully. Now I'm going to audition some papers. I want a bold, wide stripe, and you see I have this washi tape in my hand. I'm going to put this on all the sides and then 45-degree angle cut the corners of it. I've never done this before, but it works swimmingly well, so I believe I'll be doing this again because I really like this washi tape for this purpose. I'm sorry, it's out of frame. I'm just basically cutting it at a 45-degree angle and then peeling both tapes up to put them back down. Hopefully I do one on screen so you can see what I mean. It sounds way more complicated than what I do. There we go. I just cut it and then I just peel it up and then put it back down. Now I suppose I could have left one overlapping the other, but I liked the 45-degree angle. Now I gotta cut this off. Now I cut it off just two sides that I can sacrifice. And that looks awesome. I love that. It's a nice bold stripe. And now I'm not going to gut that paper because it's just a scrap piece of white cardstock. And this is where I'm trying, like, I wish that didn't stop there, because it looks funny to me that it stopped and didn't go over the edge. So I'm going to put it back together. In the end, you really don't notice that there's a cut piece on it. So it'll work out when I put it in the album. I'm going to line that up and then I'm going to line this up. I'm going to hot glue it. Now I don't wait long enough for it to dry before I start cutting it, and I think I have to piece it back on. Well, maybe not. So you can't see it in the video, and you can't see it unless you really look in person. Now I'm going to sprinkle gold Heidi Swap. I just kind of soak up some of the wetness. Sorry about my head. I'm going to have to change my video thing because I seem to be getting my head in the videos a lot lately. I'm also going to sprinkle black, and that is Plain Jane Coal. Those are really fine sprinkles. And because I have this overlap of the title, I decided to put my journaling there. It seems like the natural place for it. I just write, "You have always had your own way of doing things, a little bullheaded and stubborn. I think it will suit you well for a happy life." And I'm just going to go over it with the marker. I use the pencil first just for placement and to see if it'll fit, and in case I make any mistakes. And with that, I believe the layout is done. Making sure nothing falls off. And there I show you the little clusters. I have to grab a label to put my information in the back because that's such a dark paper. It ends up being layout 64 of 2017, Chinese Whisper Week 1. I will pass this on to the next person in line, and they'll make a layout based on this. I'd like to thank you for watching. Stay tuned for some close-up shots. And if you have any comments, list them below. I'll be happy to answer. Showing you the comparison. Pretty much spot on. Thank you again. Have a wonderful, scrappy day. Bye.